You're now tuning in to Fatima Bey, the MindShifter. Get ready to shift your thinking and turn it into success.
Hello, and thank you for listening. So today's message is entitled, What Are You Paying? Now, usually when we think of payment, we think of money, right? We usually pay for things with money. If you want to repair your house, you need money. You want to buy food, clothing, get your hair done, fix your car, etc. We usually need money, right? We need money for goods and services. But my question to you is money the only way you're paying for things? Now, as Americans, our culture teaches us that money is everything. Your goal in life is to get money, to have money, to make money. You must chase money. Now, generally speaking, this is what our culture teaches us. It's the only way to pay for things, and it's the number one goal. But I'm here to tell you, this is not actually true. Money is something, and money definitely matters, and we should be trying to get it. But it's not everything. That is where the mistake is made in what we're taught. Money is something, and it is a big deal, and it matters, and you need it, and you should go get it. However, it is not the only thing you should be looking at. It is a large piece of the pie, but it's not the entire pie. And that's something we need to recognize. Now, sometimes we can barter. I'm going to read to you the definition of barter because I think this is important in understanding where I'm going to with this. The definition of barter is to exchange goods or services for other goods or services without using money. Now, that's a very simple definition. Most of you probably knew what it meant, but I think hearing it is going to matter with what I'm going to say next. Now, I'm going to use an example from myself as to what I'm getting at today. I'm a professional seamstress. I have bartered on more than one occasion my services for others. For example, I will do some alterations on your clothing if you help me with my computer issue. There was never any money exchanged, but services were exchanged. So we paid one another with our time and energy and expertise in our area of expertise. So I still paid for her to fix my computer issue, but I paid for it with my time and energy instead of money. And I felt what I got out of her was far more valuable than just handing her some cash. Because the money needed, I didn't have at the time, but I could offer my services. And so we exchanged. And all was well. Another example is I could exchange services with a hairdresser or a makeup artist and say, hey, I'm going to be on TV and I need someone to do my makeup right now because I'm no good at it. So if you do my makeup, I will alter your wedding gown. Okay, that works. Or the hairdresser, if you do my hair, I will alter your outfits for your children. Whatever. Those aren't things that I've done recently that I can recall, but they're examples. You may say to the car mechanic, or the car mechanic may say, hey, will you tutor my son in math and I'll fix your car? You just buy that part and I'll fix it. Because as we know, when it comes to car issues, the labor can cost more than the parts at time. And understandably so when you see all the stuff they have to do sometimes. But that's all forms, those are just examples of bartering service for service. Now, You may say, you may sell items and you may barter with someone with the items that you sell for another item that you need of equal value. And that's another form of bartering. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. People do it all the time. I see entrepreneurs that do it all the time. And I love bartering with other entrepreneurs for services, because sometimes, people don't realize this, but when you own a business, oftentimes you don't have a lot of extra money, depending on the kind of business that you're running. And sometimes bartering is far more valuable than just the cash. Now, here's the thing that most people don't know. Bartering has been more common in human history than money. Just throughout human history across the world, no matter what culture or continent you're talking about, bartering has been far more common than actual money. In terms of human history, that's a little bit newer, actually. Now, bartering can be good. As I was just explaining, sometimes you don't have the money, but what you have instead is your time and your energy in an area of expertise. You can pay that way instead of money. Now, I just gave you some examples, but I want to dive a little deeper. What are the other ways that we pay for things? Discounts are always good, right? I know I love me a discount. Now, if I can get some black pants that I need, and I just need basic black pants, I'm not spending $100 on them when I can spend 30 or 20. Okay, I'm not the only one who's like that. I don't need Twizzler brand candy. I can get the cheap store brand candy and it'll do the trick. We don't want to overpay for anything that we don't need to, right? That's just common sense. It's like throwing money down the toilet. But in the examples that I just gave, we didn't pay with money. We paid with energy and time. Money's not the only thing you can pay with. What are you paying for? What are the other ways that you're paying for things in your life? Do you know that money is not your only commodity? Your time and your energy are actually just as valuable, and most of the time more valuable than money. We pay with time and energy all the time. We just don't realize it. Now, here's a big one. Relationships. They are a huge thing that we pay for. I'm going to specifically talk about romantic relationships right now because the parameters for that are different than other relationships. But when you are getting into a romantic relationship with someone, that's an investment. You are already paying with your time and your energy, and most importantly, your emotional energy. We put a lot of time and effort into any relationship that we have. Even if it's 2 months or 2 years, we put some time in. Are you getting a return on your investment? Yes, you may be dating someone and you may be paying, to take him or her out to dinner. You may be paying, for gifts for them. You might even pay a bill for them here and there, depending on the situation. But I'm here to tell you, you're paying with a lot more than money. The money is actually the smaller part. What you pay for is time and energy. And that's why it's so important that when you choose to date someone, when you choose a mate, make sure you're going to get a return on your investment, that they're worth your time and energy, because you can't get that back. Now, that subject is really a whole entire another episode or segment, but I just wanted to add that in there. You're investing in a person. Now, I'm going to give you another example that I think a lot of people do and make a big mistake with. You want to save money on your car. So you don't go to the certified professional. You go to Joe Schmo down the street, your friend Billy Bob, that someone else knows who someone else knows, that fixes cars on the side. And sometimes for little things, hey, that can work. For little stuff, ain't nothing wrong with that. That can work. But for the big stuff, it's not always wise. It can work, but that's more so the exception than the rule. So you go to Billy Bob down the street. He fixes something on your car, and it's a big deal that it gets fixed. And you're like, I only paid him $100, and the garage, the professional place you wanted to go to wanted to charge you $600 for the same job. Yay, I saved $500. But then, it breaks down on the road later. Now you've paid for towing to another place. You're paying to have the work done again. You're paying for the time lost because you were on your way to an important meeting and now you had to reschedule, or you can't make it at all and you just missed it. You lost time and all of the energy that you paid in frustration. Was it worth it? No. I'm just going to answer that for you. No. Was it really worth it to lose all of that time and energy and frustration and end up paying more later to have it done the right way? You see, sometimes cutting corners ain't working. It's a shortcut to a long fall. It just is not always worth it because you wanted to save on money. You were being short-sighted because you were only looking at money. You weren't looking at the bigger picture of other ways you're going to pay by saving on that money. And even if you didn't have to pay a penny more, you lost in frustration and time and energy when that car broke down on the side of the road or in the middle of the highway or wherever. You still paid for it. You saved $400 initially, but you paid for it in other ways. And sometimes that's worth more than money. You can cut corners to fix your house. And in a little while, you'll be back fixing it again because it wasn't done right in the first place. Something falls apart. And again, you're not only paying out of pocket more money to get it fixed right, you're paying with stress. You're paying with frustration. You're paying with loss of time. So because you have to be at the house to meet them to fix it. You're paying because you have to do the research to find someone else to fix it. Blah, 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 blah. You're paying in other ways. You saved money in the beginning by finding someone cheaper, a cheap contractor to do whatever. But did you really save? Because you paid with more than just money. Sometimes cutting corners is not worth it. It's very short-sighted. How else are you paying for the things in your life? Let's say you have a luxury car, like a Mercedes-Benz. I'm just going to use that as an example. You pay half your freaking salary for this freaking car, right? Oh, but it looks so good, it rides so smooth, you look so important, and it's nice. But you can barely pay the rest of your bills because you're paying so much for this car. What are you getting out of it? I look important, I feel important because I have this luxury car. But you're paying in other ways. You're paying a lot of money for it, first of all. You're paying more in repairs. Just regular maintenance. You're paying in frustration and stress because now you are stressed to pay the rest of your bills. You can't even afford to go on vacation. You can't save a penny. All because you had to have this luxury car. Now, sidebar, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having luxury cars. There isn't. And if you can afford it, more power to you. I'm glad you can. But I'm talking about those who can barely afford it, but you want to look important. And you're paying in more ways than just money. It's better off to save your money or save enough money that you can put enough down payment on that luxury car so that your payments are so small that you don't have to just barely survive just to have it. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Do you really need that car to define who you are? Because if you do, there are other issues behind that are much bigger and more problematic than just a car. Now, what are you paying for in life? And what ways are you paying? If you were to subtract money out of if you look at your entire life and you subtract money out of every single situation, how else are you paying for what you have in your life or what you don't have in your life? How are you paying? That is what I want to leave you with today and what I want you to think about. How are you paying? This is Fatima Bey, the MindShifter, and I thank you for listening. And again, if you want to email me with comments, concerns, or questions, you can email me at radio@fatimabey.com. That's radio@fatimabey.com. And again, thank you for listening.
Tune in next week for another segment of Fatima Bey, the MindShifter. For more of her teachings, subscribe to her YouTube channel at Fatima Bey, the MindShifter.